create your team by clicking on create team. So when you click on create team, you will get the create team option or join code option. And join code is basically if you're joining a team, and create team is where you create team. When I click on create team, you have this 4 types of teams which you can create to use. Class team is basically for the students where you give assignments, grades, share files. You can also use class 1 notebook. Participants who join the class cannot leave the class without the moderator permission. Professional learning community is used where you can create an educators group or managers group. Of course, you don't have assignments, everything out here. Staff is again where you have staff where you want to give instructions, pass on circulars and everything. You can use this. Staff also has OneNote option, but limited option. And others is basically a group which can be used. The group which I have created for training, I have used the other option. Now what I typically see in other option is that I cannot send email to all the participants one shot. Whereas in all the other 3 class types, you can actually send emails to all the members at one shot. So I will show you how you can actually email to all the members at one shot. Like the way we do in Outlook, we create a group of all the students together and then send an email to that group. Similarly, you have an option here in team also to do that. But unfortunately, in the other type of classroom, the emails are not going. I have raised this as a issue with the Microsoft team in US. Let me see if I can get an answer. So we created a class by clicking on the class, and we created a class which is called as the demo training class. So once the class gets created, you want to add members. When you create the class also you can add members, but the members ID, email ID should be in the same domain, which is the domain which is nmims.edu, which is hosted in Microsoft domain. As I explained yesterday, for example, let's say if I want to create a member, the member has to be in this domain. So if I create a member, let's say Kiran Desai Madam, with her permission, use her name as a student. So the name pops up and I can add this. I can add Kiran Desai Madam, of course, here in this case as a student. But the students ID of our college are basically @nmims.edu.in. So let's say I have a student by the name Abhishek, who is a student, Abhishek.Nimbolkar or something. But his email ID is @nmims.edu.in. So the student's name will not appear here because Microsoft is not recognizing nmims.edu.in. So for that case, to have all the students also join my class, what the organization has done is that they have created for every student a new email ID. So a student by the name Viral Shah. Viral Shah will have a student ID which is viral.shah@svkm.1microsoft.com. So once all the students' email IDs have been circulated, then you can add those students' name in your class by clicking on Manage Team and Add Members. Having said that, you don't want to add every student name one by one, you might miss it. So the best way is to email them the code. So how you'll email them the code? Once again, open up the class, go to this 3 dots more option. So this 3 dot more option will have you, when you click on it, you will say manage teams. When you click on manage teams, you have this 4 options where you will actually go to settings. So when I go to my settings, I'll have many areas where I can do my settings. I would recommend that the key settings which you should remember is basically the member permission. So I request you to use this member permission and check all those things as a best practice, and just check these 2. Owner can delete all messages and give members the option to edit message. You can also uncheck this. I also want to do that. On safer side, just keep 1 or 2 very relevant thing. Guest permission. So if you want to add a guest, right now this is not enabled from our administration level, But then once this is enabled, you can also add a guest to your class room. Now, why I'm saying this can be used? Why? Because in some class you want to invite an external faculty to talk about a particular subject to that class. So guest permission can be enabled out here. At the same time, if you don't want to make the guest a member in your class, but just want the guest to come only for that meeting, so you can just send him a meeting request to join. So the difference here is, if you add anybody as a member, then he stays within the class till the time you delete him, you remove him. But if you invite anybody as a participant during the meeting, then it is only for that meeting you're invited. He is not a permanent member in your class. That is the difference. We also talked about at mention. At mention is that if you want to mention a specific student in your class, you want to message a very specific student, then you use the @ and enter the student's name by the name Viral Shah. So when I say @Viral, his name will pop up and I can message him. So this is basically in the members permission and the at mention. Now, once I've created the class, I want all the students to join my class. I don't want to enter the name one by one. I would prefer to send this code, which is mentioned out here. I will send this code to my students, either as an email or maybe send it to the CR, and all the students will use this code to join in the class. Having said this, the key point you have to remember is that when a student enters the code here, then he should be in the Teams domain, which means that students with the email ID @svkm.microsoft.com can only use this code. If people with a Gmail account would like to use the code and log in, they cannot log in. This code is applicable only for students who are in the same domain. I think this is very, very important. So that is one way to get all the students back into your class. So that is where in the settings you can get that. Now, as soon as your class is started, you have got into the class, you have this 3 ellipse. So any settings you want to do, remember that you have to follow this particular 3 ellipse. There are also another 3 ellipse out here, which are more or less the same, but with 1 or 2 difference. Let us also say that once I have clicked on 3 ellipse, I have manage team, I have add channels. I again repeat, what is a channel? Channel from a corporate perspective, channel means departments like marketing, sales and everything. And channel can also be some specific groups. A corporate will have a channel called as the budget group, which means people who are going to be a part of the budgeting team can be a part of the channel. In our training teaching purpose, you can also create groups. Like in a class, we create 5 to 6 group of students, and every group has a name, so you can use that also out here. The relevance will be if you want to specifically address few things with a group, give different case studies to different groups, give different activities to different groups, and that way you can manage the channels out here. So that is where this channels is helpful from our teaching and faculty purpose. Then comes your add members, leave the team. Students cannot leave the team when you create a classroom, which is class types. Remember this. Get linked to the team. Now what get linked to the team is nothing but it gives you a particular link which can be copied, which will be copied to your clipboard, and from that you can paste this link in an email and then send it to the students. So students can be invited to join the class in 2 ways. One by clicking on the link, and second is by giving them the code. I would suggest give them the code. Why? Because by using the code, students will join into the class directly. But in a link, when the link is being given, students will click on the link, but they will not join the class till the time the moderator approves their request. That is the only difference by logging into the team via a link and by logging in with a code. So these are the 2 key differences, particularly when you want to join a class. So that is the critical thing. Second part, let's go back to the class once again. Right, that is where the 3 ellipse is all about. There is also 3 ellipse out here. If you see the difference, Most of them are the same, except that there is a link to the channel, there is manage channel and get email address. Now this interesting part is about get email address. Let us say you have around 60 students in this classroom and you want to email all the students from your classroom. So this get email address is the feature which, if you click on this, you get the email address of this particular class in Teams software, which means from Teams software, which is demo class June 2020, which is the class which I have created. It will use this particular email ID, which is svkm.1.microsoft.com, APAC team. This will send email to all the students who are in this class. So you can use this option if you want to email all the 60 students on one shot. Other way is that if you want to send a message to all the students, you can use this post feature out here. The post feature which you see out here is useful to see all the things which is happening in your class. The post is useful to send some information. Post is useful to send reminders. Post is also useful to send announcements to the class. Post is also useful to send files, PowerPoint attachments. And post is also useful where you can start the class straight away. Having said that, I want to repeat this once again because most of them keep asking me, saying that if I have a class which is already there defined in the timetable, that Monday 11 o'clock is the marketing class. So every Monday 11 o'clock is a marketing class predefined. So what happens in a real scenario is that every Monday 11 o'clock people will come to 4th floor, classroom number 465, and they will know that in classroom number 465, 11 o'clock marketing management class starts. Same is the concept here in the virtual class. So once people have joined the class with the code, that is a one-time activity. They don't have to keep on using that code again and again to join my class every Monday at 11 o'clock. Every Monday at 11 o'clock, I don't have to send email invites to people saying that please click the link to join. I don't have to do that. Once you've created the class, people have joined and they know that 11 o'clock the class starts. You as a professor will use this particular icon out here at 11 o'clock straight away and start the class. You really don't have to wait emails to be sent, links to be sent, and then wait for them to join. 11 o'clock, come here, click on this, meet now. Automatically in all the students' post, the meet now will come in their post. They will click on that and join the meet, or join your class directly. Please note this particular feature. It's very, very useful and helpful out here. So that is one thing. I'm checking this back again to see if there is any hand raised. So there is no hand raised. So let me go back. So that is one feature which I have seen very useful using this meet now. Another feature, of course, out here is that when I say I want to post something, I can use one more option here is formatting. So any post I want to do. One is that you type the post directly. Second one is that you can also use certain formattings. Let us say I want to post a conversation thread, which means that people won't have to chat under the same headlines of conversation. You can add a subject and start the conversation with all the students. Second is you want to give an announcement. So we are habitual to giving announcements, like when is the M3 starting, when is the M2 starting. An announcement is in the next class. There is a CEO who is going to come and talk about the new launch of MicroSoft Razor. You want to give that as an announcement. So you can click on the A button out here. It opens up this tab, and here you see that there is this option called as new conversation. There are two types of new conversation. When you click on that, you select announcement. Announcement comes in that announcement format. Pretty interesting. Little bit of artistic work you want to do. Click on this right side button. Click on the illustrations. You can select any illustrations you want, and this uses the headlines as a banner. Type in your headlines. Type in your subheadings for your announcement. And then please give your announcement. An announcement you want somebody mention. Let's say, for example, I mentioned the CR's name. So use that @. You enter the CR's name out here, and then announce to the CR, please make sure all are available next week, something like that. So this is what announcement tab is all about. Pretty interesting one. And click on this aircraft or aeroplane sign, which is send. When you click on that, the post has been announced. It says you need a heading. Let me give a heading as visiting faculty, something like that as an heading. And then I say okay. All right, so I say send. Announcement is ready. You see how the announcement looks like in the post, or a simple post saying that welcome students. It's a very simple. The difference in announcement and simple post. So people can reply to the announcement. So you know that all these threads are in the same. All the replies are in the same thread. So that is what post is all about. Pretty interesting. Second, in the post we covered the clip button, which means that you can add documents which is saved in your OneDrive, or you can add documents from your computer. So let's say I want to upload document, which is basically a quick start guide to Teams. I click on this, I click on open. It says that where you want to upload the file. Of course, I want to upload it out here. I just say upload. If you see here, I also have used upload files in my post. So if you want to upload your PPT of the class, before the class or after the class, you can upload your PPTs, Word document, case studies, whatever is that. But the upload document can be viewed directly by clicking out here. But also this upload documents get saved in another area called as files. So in files, if you see the upload document also gets saved and says that it was just uploaded a few seconds ago. So the upload is available both in the areas of files as well as in the post. So that is, these are the two interesting part from a post perspective, and also this icon, which is the Meet Now icon. There are other REST icons which is called as emojis. There are icons called as GIF, and there is an icon called as stickers. So I don't know when to use during a faculty training or meeting, but then I just leave it up to the faculty to be more creative if required. But this particular icon, which is the formatting, attachments, and the Meet Now, I found it very, very helpful and useful. Praise, of course, praise is a button which when you click, you can send a praise to a specific student or a group based on their participation. Quite a few more interesting tabs out here, but please choose which is relevant and you can do that. If you see, there is something called as an Evernote, which I have attached for my requirement. This can happen by this 3 ellipse out here, which is messaging extension. In messaging extension, you can use any of the applications. So if you want to use, let's say, polls, you can use that. If you want to use the forms, you can use that. Or if you want to use a YouTube link, right, you can also add a YouTube link. Now what this application does is that it is not installing the entire application, but it is installing one of the programs of that application. So if I say I want to install let's say PowerPoint, right? So it is not going to install PowerPoint program, it is going to install one of the PowerPoint files. So that is what the extend application is. This extend application is also as a plus sign out here. Both the features are the same. So if I say that I want to add PowerPoint as an application, now why you want to do that? Let me click on plus sign. So I can add any application. For example, if I want to add let's say PowerPoint. So it will click on, I can click on PowerPoint, but I'll have to pick up the PowerPoint which I want to attach in my Teams out here. So the one area is that you can attach the PowerPoint in the post, which can be viewed in the files by the students. They can download it. Second is you can also attach it out here straight away. Now what is the advantage of doing that? I have seen the advantages once after the class is over. We have a habit of posting the PPT to the students. So either I post the PPT straight away in the post out here, or I post it in the files where I go and upload the PPT, or I can also attach the PPT using this tab. So there are 3 different features. You can use the features the way you want. If you attach the PPT here, that PPT will be there whenever the student will come to this class. The PPT also remains here as download. The PPT also remains in the post. All the three areas can be used effectively depending on which you feel better. So that's all about post. Also, when we are talking in this meeting, remember we are also used to chatting when we are talking. Even all those chats appear in the post. Yesterday somebody asked me that, is there a place where I can download these chats? Well, you don't have to. Whatever chat you do, all those chats will come in the post. So which means that you can always go back to post, click on that meeting which you had conducted last week, and you can see who are the participants who were there in the meeting, and what are the chats which are happening. So that's quite a interesting thing. Like for example, if I want to show you that in the post, let me click on training MS Teams. If you see here, this was the meeting conducted yesterday. So yesterday, Monday, of course, Monday I had a scheduled meeting. Tuesday also had a scheduled meeting. Now in the Tuesday meeting, if you see here, Monday meeting, I had 27 replies, right, from so many people. So this was the meeting which was held. When I click on this, if you see all the people who had used the chat, I can see their chats. Also, the recording is available out here. There were questions which was asked. So all the chats are very much available in the post section itself. So there were people who had asked some questions. So there are some people who said links have been sent. So the post is quite a useful feature which I have seen when you are conducting classes. Now, second part is about the files. Now when you install when you create a class, there is a channel which is called as default general, which appears general channel, which means that all the members are assigned to the general channel. At the same time, when you create a class, you have a default class material folder and all the other materials which is outside the folder. There's a difference between these two. The materials which are posted outside the folder can be used for conversation purpose, which means that when I have posted a CSV file or an Excel file, I can use this for conversation with my students. The students can comment on this, students can talk about this, students can also give their inputs. Let's say if I have posted a PPT file and I want students to talk about the slide 1 or slide 2, I can do that. But if you post a file in class materials, it is only view only file. Students cannot converse or collaborate all in materials which is posted in class materials. The materials which is posted outside in class materials can be used for collaboration. For example, if I upload a PPT material, let us say I have a PPT called as key setups. I just click on open. So this key setups file has been uploaded right now, which is outside the class material. So the key setups files, when I click on this, it opens up the PPT, right? So this is how the PPT opens in the presentation material. And if you see, there is a conversation tab, which means that student can converse with all the students, right? And can talk about this PPT. So they can say that first line can be modified or something like that. So if you see that, there's a very interesting area. So you put a PPT and you ask students to collaborate on each slides, discuss and add values. This can only happen provided you have posted the PPT which is outside the class material. If I post the same PPT in class material, which is click on upload, I upload the same material in class folder. That is interesting. And I click on this material. Very interesting. I don't get the conversation part. So which means that the materials which you post Hello, can you hear me? I'm sorry, there was a disconnection happening. Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yes.
All right, very good. So thank you very much. I start once again. Share screen, desktop. All right, so we were basically talking about the file option. So we spoke about the file which is in the class materials, as well as the file which is outside the materials. Now let me take you through the next part, which is the class notebooks. Now, class notebooks is pretty interesting, which is actually the one notebook of Microsoft, which has been incorporated within the Teams. So in class notebook, of course, the interesting part out here is that there are three types of class notebooks. One is basically called as the collaboration space. So just like the way I showed you how you collaborate using that PPT, the same is which is applicable out here. So if you want to collaborate with the students and the teachers both together, then any document posted in collaboration space will permit the students also to edit the document as well as the teachers. But any document posted in the content library space out here by clicking on paste, then this is only view only files. So which means students cannot edit or collaborate out here. Plus there is a teachers only section. Now the interesting part of teachers only section is that all the materials which you want to use for your class is reserved in the teachers only material, which cannot be viewed by the student or by anyone else except the teachers. How can you activate this teachers only? You can activate this by going to the class notebook. And in class notebook, you have this small icon which is called as manage notebook. When you click on manage notebook, it opens up the manage area. So for every notebook, you can create multiple sections. So for students notebook, I have created only two sections called as class notes and handouts. You can add more sections out here. What are sections is nothing but the various sections you have in a diary. So same is the case of sections out here. Teachers sections only gets enabled from this manage notebook part. Once you have enabled this, this cannot be disabled. I don't see any reason why you want to disable this. By enabling this, of course, you have a separate teachers only diary where you can keep all the materials for the entire session of your 10 hours of 10 lectures in 3 months, so that you don't have to keep on picking up before every lecture what slide you want to show today, what case study you want to do. So all those things can be well prepared before the lecture starts, and all those presentations, documents can be stored at one place. Pretty interesting. Collaboration space, I said, is used for both the faculty as well as the students to collaborate. They can edit on the documents, but if you want to lock it, you don't want the students to edit those documents in collaboration space, you can lock it from this particular feature, which is called as manage notebook. So that's the area of manage notebook. Now, if I show you one particular classroom of mine, which is called as integrated marketing communication, where I have used this, sent my class plans, I've sent my PPTs out here. I also have used class notebook out here. So in class notebook, I will show you where I have created for every student, there is a space diary which is created. So I can post materials for specific students, or I can post material for all the students. How you can do that is that you select the post which you want to be circulated, click on class notebooks, click on distribute page, and the page can be distributed either to all the students or to individual students or to only a select group of students, or maybe to the channel which you have selected out here. So this is a feature which is used for circulations. So every student has their own diary, so you can one student cannot see the other student's diary. That is an important aspect out here. One student cannot see the diary of the other student. Teachers only section, if you see, which I have created for my IMC class. So in this section, if you see, I have created an M1 test folder, which means that I have kept my papers ready out here. So when the M1 starts, I can use it directly from here. I have posted materials in my session 2. I've kept everything ready. I have posted materials in my session 3. I've kept everything ready. So the teachers one is quite useful. If you see in sessions 1, I want to only talk about these 2 PPTs. And once the session is over, I will circulate this PPT to all my students in their class notebook. Or I can send this PPT in the post, or I can attach this PPT in the files. You can do the way which is more comfortable to you, so there is nothing hard coded out here. So that is quite interesting when it comes to the class notebook. We also discussed yesterday about assignments. The assignments is very similar, copied from Google Classroom. Pretty interesting thing. So you can conduct assignments, both subjective assignments. You can conduct assignments both, which I call it as multiple choice. Let us click on, let's say I want to create an assignment which is multiple choice. So multiple choice assignment, right? Where I can click on a new form. So let's see how this particular works. So when I click on a new form, it opens up in the Google Drive. So it opens up in the Google Drive. In this case, it is asking me to log in. Oh no, it has not asked me to log in. Pretty interesting. Good. Now I have here, which is called as a new form. So the difference between a new form and a new quiz, ladies and gentlemen, is that in new form, it is a form which you use to collect data and which will not have marks, whereas quiz will have marks. So let's say if I want to do a quiz, so I click on new quiz. I give a name for this, and let's say I call this as M1 test, which is June 24th, whatever the date you want to give. Given description, let's say all questions compulsory. You can do that in the main tab as well. Now when I click on add new, I have an option. I have choice, multiple choice, text, rating based questions, date based questions, and there is this drop down box where I can do some sort of a ranking. You can also attach a file. Let's say for a case study, upload a file. People will read that case study and answer those questions. So most of the activities of your assignments can be done out here. Now, when I do this, what I also do is that I actually create a question, first question, and I call this as enter your roll number. So this I do that. I'll tell you what is the reason behind that. I make this basically, let me, I create a small question and I call it as a text-based question. I say that enter your roll number, and I make this as a required field, right? So and the student will answer here. I just click on add new. From second, I start using my multiple choice questions. I say that OSTPM. All right, so here in option, I say the answer, okay, option 2, Yachuri. All right, now once you create these answers, you have this option. Of course, you want to delete or maybe display a message to the respondent, not required, but you click on this and then you say this is the right answer. So you keep on adding those multiple choice questions. Right, and if you want to give a point to each questions, let's say 5 marks to each questions. Right, and now here I want to also add a subjective question, and I say that explain the 4 P's of marketing. So in one format itself, I'm having a multiple choice. At the same time, I'm also asking for short answers. Points are same, right? So this way you can use this Google form, Google quiz concept to create as much as questions you want. Now, once I've done this, I also have a 3 ellipse out here. What am I going to do with this? This is the settings part for your quiz paper. So when I click on this and click on settings, right? If you have given those marks, you can also show the results automatically. For subjective types, of course, you may have to add rubrics, but not required. You can uncheck this and then leave it so that results can be posted later on after you have reviewed the answers manually. In this case, I don't want to do it automatically because all the questions are not MCQs. If all the questions are MCQs, then you can straight away check this box and keep it on. Now, who can fill this point? People from the organizations and all the stuff. If you want to, since the people already registered, you don't want to record their names. This is a pretty interesting part in the settings. I click this back, and that's where the settings part works. Now, once I've done this, all I have to do is just close this. By closing this, I get my my assignments straight away, which is coming up into my assignment tab. Once this is done, the students will of course get their assignments. They will upload their assignments. So when they upload their assignment, there's something called as turned in. Once they have answered the assignments within the assignments tab, what happens next is that once they answer this, they have option where they have to click on turned in. So once they click on turned in, once the students have turned in, then you get a message saying that the students have turned in, which means that they have answered the papers. Then you go and look at their papers. You can look at each and every questions and answers, and you want to comment on their questions and answers. You can actually comment on each and every questions in terms of whether the marks has been given. You can say that 3 marks for this, or 3 marks for this, and then maybe some comment you want to give. All points need to be answered. And when I click on return with some feedback, the student gets to know that what marks he has been given for these questions. But that is an interesting part when I talk about assignments out here. Once I finish this assignments, if you have multiple assignments given, you can see all the assignments in the grade page itself. This is the area of using this as assignments. Now let me get back to the class. I'll get back to my class and see whether there are any questions. Do you have any questions now, so that we can address the questions and go to the next part of our class? Any questions, ladies and gentlemen? All right. No hand raised so far and no questions. All right, so let's get back to the class. I go back to my Teams once again. And now let me talk to you about the tab. So what and all we can do with this tab? I can use this tab plus button. Let's say I want to attach something called as planner. I click on planner. Now what is a planner? Planner helps me to create tasks, various tasks which you give in a class. Now let's say this is called as a term presentation. Click on save. So new tab gets created called as term presentation. And what is the task? So I click on add task and I say that each group to present. So I can keep my own planner out here, set the due date for presentation, assign this to the group head, right? So the group head has been assigned, and then click on add task. So task gets added. Similarly, I can add one more task, and let's say class discussion, something like that. Again, set a due date, so you can have multiple tasks created, assign, add task. So this way you can have your own planner for the class. And every time you know that the class is over, agenda is over, then you can go and say the task is finished. So pretty interesting tab. You can add as much as the tab you want. Let us say presentation, or let's say PDF document. So click on PDF. I want to attach this quick start guide to the team as a PDF, and I click on save. So in the PDF tab, this guide is attached. If you see, it is there attached in my class itself. Pretty interesting. So today I shared this PDF with my students in the class, and now I have posted this PDF in this tab itself. So I don't want to really circulate this PDF to all the students. I keep it here. Students will And I said this PDF is available for this entire week. So people can look at this PDF, read, take notes and all the stuff. Next week, I don't want this PDF to remain there. I just click on remove and the PDF is removed. So that's a pretty interesting part which I can use. This particular area which I call this as the plus sign, which is adding tabs. So that's the interesting part of Microsoft Teams. Now people have been asking me that should I have to send invites from every class? No. If you have created a create team and I've invited all the students, then you don't have to create meeting invites for every class. But then if you want to do a one-off meeting or sometimes in between, then you really don't have to do it within the class. You can do it outside the class also. You can straight away go to calendar and click on new meetings and then create these meetings. So creating a meeting directly from the calendar is basically just a one-off meetings where you have sent the link and the link is sent to all the students. Whoever has the link can join in that meeting. Whereas if you invite people by creating a team and from the team, and I create a meeting which is from my class, then I go to my calendar, I click on new meeting and I say add a meeting, let's say discussion on the case study. And this I want to do with a very specific group in my class. So in that case, I don't have to enter all the students' name. Please note this. I want to do a specific discussion with a group in my marketing management class, and that's why I'm creating this meeting. And I don't want to enter all the students' name. Of course, it is cumbersome. All I'll do is that click on the channel out here. Please make a note, click on the channel. So when I click on channel, you have so many classes. So I will click on the class which I want. And in that class, I have a specific group called as group 2. So which means that this invite will go to my class team, which is integrated marketing communication. And in that it will go to a specific channel. This is a pretty interesting way how you can send meeting invite to your classroom. If you want to send an invite to all the students in that particular class, again, click on the class channel out here. Select the channel, select the class and click on general. So by selecting general, you have to select general or one of the classroom, one of the channels, and then click on send. Then this invite will go to all the students. So you really don't have to worry whether should I send a link or what. So you don't have to do anything of that sort. So that is a pretty interesting in meetings. So meetings are of two types. One is go to the calendar and directly set a meeting, enter the attendee's name, and then send that link to all the students by asking the CR to do that or the organizer. But that is a one-off meetings. But if you want to conduct meeting from the teams, then you have to select the channel, which is your classroom, and within that classroom you select general. Then the meeting request will go to only those students pertaining to your class. It will not go to others. That's a pretty interesting part which I have seen out here. So that's about the meetings. Second thing about meeting is there is something called as live meetings, live events. Now live events is where if you want to address more than 1,000 students, 5,000 students, 6,000 students, you can use this live event. Live event is just like a live program which comes in YouTube, Facebooks and everything, where most of the speakers they use these type of features. In live event, only a link is required, which is sent to the prospective people, which means that even outsiders can join in. People from anywhere from this world who has that link and log in. So you have no way where you can restrict that. So that is the difference between a live event and a meeting. Second one is that in live event, of course, you are the speaker. There are two people who are involved in live event. One is a producer and second one is a presenter. So in an event, you can have 4, 5, 6, 7 presenters, more than that, and you can schedule your event very well. The producer actually organizes the event, so the producer role is different and presenter role is different. Someday I will also cover a detailed session only on how to manage live events. So that is about the events part today. Let's go back to the Teams. Is there anything which I have missed? I don't think so. Now let us address the question answers session. So any questions so far? Let me check. I will stop sharing. All right. Any questions, ladies and gentlemen? Abhay sir.
Yes, sir.
Over to you, Abhay sir.
I have filled out one thing. How to
Yeah.
export the attendance in the Excel sheet? Can you repeat?
Okay. How to export export attendance Excel sheet? Okay. Let me do a screen sharing and see if I can show that to you right now.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Screen share. All right. So you're able to see my screen right now. If you see here, these are my attendance of people who have joined in today. All these people have joined in today. Abhay sir, Abhilasha madam, Manushree madam, all these people have joined in today. So you as a moderator, you can download the attendance. If you see next to the people, there is a tick box and there is a down arrow key. This is called as download attendance list. Now when I click on download attendance, I click on download attendance. So when I click on download attendance, this downloads the attendance into your system. So when I click on my folder, so in my folder on the download tab, this is where it downloads the attendance. So when I double click on my attendance out here, it opens up the attendance sheet. I hope all are able to see the attendance sheet. This is the attendance sheet. What you can see here is in the attendance sheet, it gives me the attendance of name of all the students. It also gives me the action, which is when they joined and all the stuff, and also gives me an action of the date and time. This is how the attendance has got downloaded. There is no way where I can add a field called as roll number. For a very simple reason is that there is no option where students can log in by entering the roll number. So once, let's say Abhay Kumar sir, you have logged in, system knows that you are abhay.kumar@nmims.edu. So that is why it has given the name directly out here. So if this is the case, then what I say is that you have, of course, the attendance list right now. Then you have to map the student's name within another Excel sheet which you have, which will have the roll numbers, do a VLOOKUP or something. So that is one activity. Second activity is where you can take a roll call from your mobile app attendance. Third activity is, ladies and gentlemen, I'm announcing is right now, I'm working with the mobile app team where I can give a team icon link in your mobile app itself. Isn't that interesting? I'm trying to work with Microsoft team and our mobile app team to integrate the Microsoft team within your mobile attendance application. And if that works, then I should deserve a party. Abhay sir, am I right or I'm right, sir?
You are welcome, sir. 100%.
Yes. So if that link works, if that happens in collaboration with Microsoft team, then the attendance will be automatically recorded from the mobile app into your team. So you don't have to worry about taking attendance. It will automatically get recorded and go into the SAP system. Provided Microsoft team is helping us to develop that API, which we can incorporate that in both our portal as well as mobile app. So with the technology team, I'm trying to work that out and see if we can add value. So interesting part. So that is one thing which you are working. So that is the first question answered to Abhay sir. So any other questions? Any more hand raise? So I don't see any much of hand raise. Let me look at chats. Any questions in chats? Of course, I don't have questions out here in chats. All right. Any questions once again, ladies and gentlemen, before I stop recording and go to the next part, which is. All right, so let me stop recording right now. Okay, there we go.